All right.
Oh, and go watch some SGDQ. Another one last shout out.
Oh shoot, we didn't do that.
Shoot.
Good
Well, let's
call,
do it now.
Michael.
Let's do it now. Wait, I can even put it up front. Look, this is now the start of the podcast. Guess what started, guys?
SGDQ.
Oh yeah.
SGDQ. It's summer? How did that happen? I'm just kidding. I haven't lost track of time that badly. What's going on right now?
It must be summer. You're on vacation every other week.
Silent Hill 4.
No, literally every week right now. Silent Hill 4.
Yeah.
Hard for me to advertise that one. I don't like being scared.
I saw earlier yesterday they were playing Spyro. I saw some runs. There were some Castlevania runs.
Oh, this is all scary stuff. So they started with Phasmophobia, then it's Five Nights at Freddy's, Outlast. Yeah. Okay.
Other than a
They did Link's Awakening earlier, which was apparently a really good race to watch.
Oh, I got to go see that.
Cool.
I know there's a Super Mario Maker race coming up, and I believe a Super Mario World Kaizo race.
Nice. They started with Shadow of Colossus. I want to go watch that. 18 minutes. Oh, no, that was setup link.
It's a boss rush.
47
minutes.
Yeah.
That's still short.
47 minutes to beat a game that took me like 15 years. Oh, they got some new stuff in here too this year. They've got Tunic. I know a guy that I follow, Mr. Shasta. He ran Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and that was really fun to watch because who watches modern Kirby games these days? And it was like, this is nuts. When did they start doing this stuff in Kirby games?
Yeah.
That Forgotten Land game is supposed to be really good, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But that was cool to see. Oh, and the 30-minute Pokemon Snap thing is cool because there's some really weird glitch stuff in there. Basically, to get to the end of that really quickly, he finds Mewtwo. It was weird. Okay. SGDQ is on. Now enjoy a podcast. What are we talking about? 316. Cool number. I like numbers in general.
Great intro. Love it.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I had. I didn't have anything else. I did have hello JJ and I did have hello Michael, but I alternate which one's first each week, and then I for some reason don't read it, so I usually say hello JJ and hello Michael.
Okay.
There you go. He didn't like my other intro, so now I've botched 2 intros in a row, you know?
See, the thing is you think it's botched, but it's fine. And no one knows it's botched except you, and now people are disliking of it, right? They were cool with it until now.
Oh, I hope they're not disliking of it. Just enjoy it like the rest of us. I did not enjoy. It's been a week since we've talked to you guys. In that week, 2.5 of those days, I laid in a bed because someone was not careful with their hands and of washing them while making my food at a restaurant.
Oh, I was going to ask how. So was it
I don't know.
A restaurant again?
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be.
Well, if you were the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was the only one. So, it was either some chicken or some hot peppers. I don't know which. The hot peppers made me queasy later when I saw some. So maybe that was it. You know, your body knows sometimes.
Yeah, but chicken, man, you can't mess around.
Yeah, that's chicken. What I'm saying. It doesn't. This getting gross. But Mammoth is a fun place in the summer, JJ. Now that we don't have to run track there.
Oh, I mean, I've been there several times during the summer. It's great. I love it.
I haven't been back since high school track in the summer. I've been back plenty in the winter.
I was going to say, what? Like, that can't be right. I know you've been there.
Yes. No, I go in the winter quite often. However,
yeah. The place is very similar in the summer with just a lot. It's a lot easier to get around because there's no snow on the ground.
Yeah, and less people by a wide margin.
A lot less people.
Yeah. However, the public transit is running well. and they take mountain bikers everywhere, and they have public transit to parks that aren't open in the wintertime, like Devil's Post Pile and a bunch of other places. But Michael, I hear that maybe you and public transit have to have some words.
It's not the public transit that I have issue with exactly. It is the behavior of the people on it.
Okay.
So this happened on our flight, but I know that this
That's
sort
not
of
really
thing
public
happens.
transit, right?
Well, but it's applicable. So I say I'm going to encompass all transit where you are not, say, by yourself or with your immediate friends or family in a vehicle.
Okay, transit in public.
Yes, transit in public. We are sitting in our seats on the plane, waiting for the plane to push back from the gate. And in the row in front of us, a gentleman pulls out his phone and begins watching a movie with the volume turned up and no headphones.
No.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Unallowed.
And it's just common courtesy, people. That's all we ask.
Could you see his screen from where you sit?
I could, yes.
Could he hear you if you spoke about the movie?
He probably would have, yes.
I fully believe and intend that I would, and I mean this with my entire heart, begin commenting on the film and talking to him about it. Oh, in the next part, that guy dies, right?
Oh, if it was something that I had recognized and I could have spoiled it, yeah.
Oh man, I was just gonna say it's like some suspense movie or whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, is this the one where the killer is that guy?" And then, like, oh,
yep. Then watch them get thrown off a plane. Well, were it not true, I'm sorry that happened to you. Annoying, but I have seen it happen before. Sometimes I have not been in a position anterior to the person with said loud device. If I have forgotten my headphones, which I have done before, I just turn on the CC and watch something that I don't care that much about. You know what I mean?
Or I don't watch anything. I do something else. I have a phone machine in my hand. It can do a million things that are not watching this video.
Often there are books in my bag.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've noticed this phenomenon, not specifically related to public transit, but in public places like hiking. I've noticed people carrying loud music as they go on a bike or they hike up a trail, just like playing whatever. And it's like, that's cool that you like this, but I don't want to listen to whatever this is.
Yeah, your speaker backpack is not fun for the rest of us while we stand here by this river.
Yes.
That I've never seen before,
I'm very frustrated when that happens to me. So this is becoming an epidemic, and it's a problem. 3
old men yell at clouds.
Yes, I'm shaking my fist violently at you whippersnappers and my lawn.
Did I have 2 transitions. 1, did anyone behave poorly at your baseball game? 2, man, did some people behave poorly at our local baseball game?
I wondered if you were going to bring that up.
Oh, dear.
Was it behaving poorly, or was this like finally the baseball people did what they'd been wanting to do for like weeks or whatever and just decided to have a fight?
Just saying, baseball could use more hockey.
The unwritten rules are stupid. Just write them down and fight. Like, you don't need to have like some dumb code.
Yeah.
That one's silly. The baseball game that I attended did not have a big fight at it, although we did the San Diego Padres game. They played against the Philadelphia Phillies. Our pitcher did shatter Bryce Harper's thumb, though. For the second season in a row.
Great.
That was news. That was somehow the second news of the day when it came to baseball. Unfortunately for the Angels, bench clearing pitching.
How many
problems.
people are going to get suspended from that brawl? You think?
7 or
several?
8?
Yeah, at least.
I watched the replay, but the replay is very funny because the announcer yells some very funny things. He's like, "Holy some stuff, and it's not what he said, but you can get the idea of what he says. And then they're just like, then they immediately go into like, we have to show this because people are seeing it, but like we don't want to comment and glorify. Oh, that guy's gonna get suspended. There's a punch.
Yeah, anyone who threw a punch is getting suspended.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take them a while to review all that tape.
I would volunteer. I'd volunteer. I'd be like, I'll do it. I'll look at the tape. I'll watch. I'll find the suspensions.
The problem is they have to find people who are impartial, right? And like aren't just going to suspend one side versus the other side.
I will suspend everyone. That's fine. I don't care. The Angels suck so bad. It's like I would be a fan, but
suspend everyone except for Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. That's
screw it.
Team now.
I'm gonna suspend Trout and Ohtani so they don't get injured again this season.
It's like, did Ohtani even get off the bench? Like, was he even out there?
No.
I was going to say, like, I highly disbelieve he would be doing that, but
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, the baseball game I attended was great. We lost, just after breaking Bryce Harper's thumb. But yeah, shout outs to Harper. Anyway, he like said something to the pitcher as he was walking off that looked very. We're up on like middle upper level or whatever, and it looked bad. Like what he was like jawing at the pitcher, like he was saying something to him as he's walking off, like clearly cradling his injured hand. Mm-hmm. And people in the stadium thought he was like trying to start a fight or whatever. But apparently it came out later, like and the people on the broadcast heard it because I guess he said it loud enough to be heard. But he was
they can hear everything on the field. They have a parabolic pointed down there.
Yeah, so I guess he was saying that he. And just the way he looked, the body language looked bad. But I guess the gist of the conversation was that he was like absolving the pitcher of blame for hitting him, so that his teammates like didn't try to start a fight about it.
Yeah.
He said he could tell the pitcher didn't mean it.
Right. Yeah.
That in Japan they tip their cap if they didn't mean it, even if it doesn't hit them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
More unwritten rules of baseball stuff.
There you go.
Yep. But yeah, I had a wonderful time. It was a great time. We had great seats, I thought. Had a good time with some people, like people 2 seats away from us. They always have you sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" as part of a baseball thing. That's
sure
like
do.
The 7th inning stretch. The guy during that song yelled, it's like, it's root for the whatever the team is, and the guy yells "Angels."
Yeah.
Like everyone around like looks at him and he's like, they're my team. It's like, okay, dude. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sports. We made a hockey reference, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I can talk about...
it looked like a hockey game in that Angel game.
I can talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles then.
Yeah, I want to hear how it was.
Because there's a guy in there with a, the guy with
a hockey mask. Okay.
Casey Jones.
Jesse Jones has a stick and a mask. So
Casey Jones.
Sorry, not Jesse Jones. Why did I say Jesse Jones? Casey Jones. It is exactly what you want it to be.
That's all I needed to hear.
That's good to know. I'm happy about this.
If you want to, you can button mash all the way through the entire thing and really not think about it. Or you could do a lot of different combos. A lot with your character.
I like that. I'm very happy to hear that they allow you to succeed by button mashing.
Well, they have to, because the early stages of the game, there's a progression system for your characters in this game.
So you don't have the combos.
But I dropped into a multiplayer game that was further along than I was, and I got in there, and my character was level 1 because I had not updated April yet, and I did just fine. I was lower on the KO count than everyone else, but never was I in trouble or like I can't play this level or whatever.
That is cool. Like
nice.
I feel like that is one of those things about some of those beat 'em up games that have progression, where it's like kind of meant for you to have you can't like jump in the middle as a lower level character and be okay. You kind of gonna get worked.
Yeah, I think this is more of a yeah, your kids could still play with you because even if you get knocked out, another player can just pick you back up. The
that's good.
pizza pickups are often for everyone. Like if you just touch the pizza, everyone gets a heal kind of thing.
That's a nice change.
Yeah, that rules.
There's single pizza pickups and there's multiple player pizza pickups, and then there's also like plenty of ultimate. I don't know what you would call it, but like you have an ultimate attack, right? And then there's like power up pickups of just like, hey, what if your ultimate attack was even bigger and better and just started right now and killed everything on the screen? There's that pickup.
Well, yes, this does sound good to me.
Yeah.
And so I would say that it is not targeted at kids. It's definitely targeted at like, hey, did you like that game when you were a kid? Yeah, I would love to play it with my kids. And so therefore, the air juggle combos that kids can't do aren't entirely necessary to get through the game, probably. Of which the game is pretty short. I think it's just like 15 levels or something. If you beat it, you unlock Casey Jones. The rest of it is playing through to level up characters if you want to and make them better. So like now my April character has more hit points, more she can hold 2 ultimates instead of just 1. Like you have a charge bar for your ultimate. Once you have 2 ultimates, you should just be using them. Basically, once you hit 2, you just start. Okay, wait, hit 2. I'm just gonna use it. Yeah, hit 2. I'm gonna use it. You know. And then you basically will, again, end up using them on the boss a lot. I don't know. What else do you want to know about the game? It's really fun. I had a good time. My April is now upgraded enough to do like weird air juggle stuff if I want to.
Is April overpowered?
I don't know. Casey looked good too, and I played Raph for a little bit and he was fun. I think she's definitely got this like slide thing that she could do all over the place, and you could probably, as April, take less damage than other characters. Maybe that's why she's overpowered. I don't know.
Because the typical tier rank of these arcade games, in my mind, which again is I haven't played a lot of these in a very long time, but it's like the number 1 character was always Donatello because the bow staff had the most reach,
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. And then it was Leonardo, and then usually Michelangelo because you could stick the nunchucks out, and then Raph was always last because the size are short.
Yeah.
And they didn't usually have like Casey Jones or April as a selectable character, to my memory.
No.
And so like that was always the tier rank of the turtles in the games. It's like longest weapons, most important. Everything else doesn't really matter. The like changes were basically the same. So it's cool to hear that the characters have differentiation this time.
And like
just,
April,
the attack.
April has more reach than her hands because she wields her microphone.
Oh, she like hit people with the mic?
Yeah, and so like there's a slide move that I was talking about where she has not just a microphone, but like a microphone on like a boom stand and like sticks it out in front of her.
Okay.
So the unlockable moves create more reach and stuff, and I think they're probably the characters might be more interchangeable than before. Because like back attack is back attack, and I think it's roughly the same. So between my Raph and April, it was roughly the same. So they're not entirely 1-to-1. Definitely Raph and April's main attacks and slide attack and stuff like that were different. And the like air attack was different. She seems to stun people, which sometimes didn't. I don't know. I didn't get too much time with other characters yet. So.
Okay. But I mean, they play differently enough that
they do.
You noticed.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's already something that's different from those old arcade games.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and watching Ken play with Casey Jones, you could tell, like, oh, you unlocked that at the end for a reason.
See, like air juggling and comboing the whole screen and like not touching the floor, that kind of stuff.
His ultimate seems very much stronger than everyone else's. It's a little wild.
Got it.
But
I wonder, man, I'm like curious now, like what's the speed run say?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably real quick if you're just trying to beat it. It's not very long, the game.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of different categories.
It's on Game Pass and it's on for sale on everything. I think it's already on sale on Steam because of the summer sale.
I think it's on sale because it just launched.
Oh, and the Epic Games thing. I figured this out. You do not have to sign into Epic Games or launch Epic Games to play the game if you don't want to. So I installed it in Game Pass. I run it, and since I have not logged into Epic in the options menu, it doesn't do anything with Epic. It doesn't launch Epic. It doesn't do anything. But if you want to play from your PC with people who have a PlayStation, you need to log into Epic because Epic's the only one that can make that bridge happen. So there you go.
So the game uses Epic Online services for the back end, probably.
If you want it to, it can. But I am not logged into it, so it's got to be using Xbox.
Okay, I very quickly went to speedrod.com. It looks like April has the shortest time, but Leo is within like 20 seconds and Raph is there also. The difference is like 1 minute, except for Mike and Don, who are like, I don't know, sorry. Yeah, Mike and Don are like several minutes behind the other two for some reason.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Casey Jones is at 111 and the other ones are at like 110. So he's the slowest apparently.
Oh, weird. He doesn't appear very quick. April moves across the screen real fast. But that
Which I'm
doesn't
sure
always
quite a lot in a speed run.
Yeah, in a normal playthrough when I was playing with friends, it just meant that I was running back and forth more than them and they were letting enemies come to them more.
Yeah.
But whatever.
So are your single player and multiplayer progressions kept separate?
No, it looks like they are. It looks to me like they are integrated. That you just have a stable of characters, and you upgrade them on basically your account or whatever you want to call it, your game's save.
So if you're playing with your friends, it counts, and if you then leave and go back to your single player game,
Yeah.
you're still
So
the same level as you were.
So my April, when I finished playing with the other guys, they logged out. My April was still upgraded when I went to single player.
Okay.
So, if you want to make progress on a character or whatever, I guess. I don't know. It didn't seem like it mattered that much. I'm sure the abilities later on get really cool.
I think that's like a fun way to like give multiplayer more use.
Yeah,
especially if it's the case where like you've played this a bunch and you kind of know the deal. So it's like, all right, well,
yeah.
I can jump in as this character. I haven't played that much and level them up, and it's not going to be
It was nice that it was just a thing. It was like you've unlocked an air attack. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. Not like go in and spend your points. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm playing multiplayer. So I'll talk more about it. I'll play more. I answer some more questions, I guess, next time. I'm just gonna finish up because I got Isha.
Oh yeah.
So the real game has begun.
Yeah. Wow.
Makes a difference, right?
3 attacks. Whee! I wanted to talk real quick about the lens runes and like equipping elemental attacks. I didn't realize this game was gonna go that far, like full on Final Fantasy VIII stuff.
It's funny when they first introduced that stuff and I got Isha, I was like, oh, okay, like her spells matter, so like this makes a difference. Cool. And then I was like, later, I was like, oh no, this is important. I would rather not have to grind a bunch of levels to get through this area. And if I equip the element, it turns it into much, much different.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh, I'm in the snow area and crit.
Yeah, it turns out.
Yeah. And the defense makes a big difference too. Like,
does it?
It's like, oh, I go from having to potion after every third attack to these enemies are mere mortals touching my godlike appearance.
It seems like, though, like if you want to equip everybody with everything, right? Like if you want Earth on everyone in attack and defense, you'd have to have 6 of them. So, wow, that's way too expensive to do. Or
well, there aren't that many level 3 in the game.
Yeah, so you won't be able to do that.
So you're gonna have to pick and choose who gets what level.
Oh, so they don't upgrade like the other ones? You have like level 1, level 2, level 3 in your inventory?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
But you can't get any level 2 ones if you don't have the stuff to make the level 2 one.
But some stuff in like your weapons and stuff just upgrade and like.
Yeah, these are
Interesting.
items in your inventory, not like
Yeah, they're
your
basically
weapons or your armor.
just items, right? They're materia or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, materia is a good way to think about it.
Yeah, so they basically equip and do everything like an item. So I currently only have level 1 items. So the ones in the shop are not upgrades. They just replace what you have and you can sell the old ones.
Well, you could, but you're not going to have enough, and you will want to keep the old ones around so that you have enough to equip on the other people, right?
All right, fair point. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I like that I like that with Isha that her spells change based on the element she has equipped.
And they're like drastically different.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Oh, okay.
drastically different. You'll definitely find you like some of them either the way that they hit or the status effect that they impart better than others.
I have not experimented with this yet.
Yeah, that's a pro tip, man. Go experiment with those because it makes a big difference. If you change your element and you're like, okay, now she's going to be doing extra damage, but all of a sudden you can't hit with the spell because the aim is like way different than the other one, you'll be like,
Yeah, I forgot for a while that I had unlocked upward attack with CJ. And I was like, I can't hit these little dragon dudes, but I have the thing equipped. I just gotta like swing higher or something. And then I was like, oh wait, I have upwards attack.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, that game's still I'm having a nice little time. It's not I'm not burning through it super fast. But I do like one of the main quest line chunks, including all the side questing that then pops up in the middle of it, you know? Per night. So we'll get there.
I think that's the good way to do it because those side quests, it's a lot of like collect and then knock as many of them out as possible at once.
I logged in last night to do that segment again, and I got to the side questing, and it was literally like what you guys have been talking about. Like, well, I'll just give you this bronze ore I already have. Well, I'll just give you this slime jelly I already have. I'll just give you these crystals I already have.
Free money. Let's go.
Have you finished a stamp card yet?
I am on the gold stamp card, but they have not lowered the prices on me yet that I can tell.
Yeah, the stamp cards don't lower the prices that I remember. So
something lowers.
They increase your chain.
Your chain?
Yeah. So the number of attack, the attack you can chain to switch.
I thought that the stamp card decreased, or maybe I misread. What decreases the tax they take from you?
Nothing.
Oh, it's always 30%.
No, it does decrease.
They tell you that it could decrease, but maybe lying.
There is something that decreases the tax. There might be one decrease that's actually tied to the storyline.
Oh, that's probably it then. Well, I haven't finished it. I would love to talk more about it. I will be on vacation this coming week, however, so I don't know how much I'll have to say about that. So we should hear JJ having finished, little game.
Yeah, I guided my Grey Knights against the forces of chaos to a victory. Such as it is, you never really win, you know.
Yeah,
can't actually beat chaos. That would sort of ruin the setting.
No.
But yeah, that game goes some really interesting places.
It's always fun with an Inquisitor, in my opinion, because you can do way more stuff. You know, in like Michael in the 40K universe. Because there's so many people, the administration of everything is basically how you survive. And if you read some of the side fiction, there's way too much administration and no one can get anything done. And all those people are in charge of everything. And then you just are an Inquisitor and you just sort of walk by everyone and do whatever you want.
Okay.
The problem is the Inquisitors are humans, though, not transhumans / Space Marine, super soldiers, right?
Right, which is why you need Space Marine super soldiers.
Because they're squishy.
Well, and the humans are corruptible. That's the problem.
Right? Okay.
Chaos is good at corrupting the humans specifically. Yeah. And so, that's the trope line, right? Is that the Inquisitor eventually falls for chaos, of course. But they do a great job with it here. And I think you've spent like so many hundreds of days in this campaign, researching things and upgrading your ship and powering up your weapons and all this stuff, that like by the time you start fighting the crazy bosses at the end, your squad of 4 dudes takes on, a entire like dreadnought sized army or a huge, piece of like flesh that is like a rolling thing. I don't know what to describe. It looks like it's very strange. And then, of course, you end up having to go into the warp for reasons, and you end up fighting a Chaos Primarch because, of course, right? Like that's always how they, you want to escalate to the top, and that's the top, right? It was cool though, really fun. I will say that last fight was really, really hard compared with the rest of the game. So it was nice to see they stepped it up. And I will say, I love it when a game tells you this is the point of no return, right?
Oh, yeah. Dude, so good. They'd have one of those in Spiritfarer, which we talked about last week, and it makes my day.
I cannot recommend it enough, game developers. Because you see this button, it's like, hey, if you do this, you're not going to be able to come back. Just FYI. It's like,
I know that people are like, oh, that breaks immersion, but it's like, I know I'm playing a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to be able to put a save here so that if I get screwed later, I can come back.
I could see like a long dark sim type place, like a sim type game or a Last of Us type game not telling you, because there's never anything it's telling you. Especially if you're making something with little menuing and little actual story.
This is a strategy tactics game. The whole game is the menuing and the layers of the resources and stuff.
That's no excuse in a normal, just like we're all having fun with numbers here kind of deal.
Yeah, it's like, this construction project takes 2 weeks. And then it's like you click this button and it's like, oh, too bad you don't get to find those 2 weeks. It's just over now because you clicked the button, right? Like, I'm glad it told me so I can go waste time for 2 weeks, finish my construction project, and then click the button.
Or even Spiritfarers was like, have you done everything? Or like, do you think your character's done everything they would want to do? Because you won't get to do more, they phrased it in game parlance.
Yeah. And like, so I just really appreciated that this game gave me that when I got to that point.
Oh no, it was more like, okay, the next part of the game is, so when you think you've done everything, then go there. So it didn't stop it, when you got there and say, you can't go. I was like, no, don't go until you think. That was a good version of that.
And that is similar to what this did, right? It's like, when you're ready, research this topic, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, don't research it until you're ready, because when you click, go finally on this topic, you're going to do something.
Cool.
But here, you can just putz around in the universe and do whatever other stuff you want.
I think that's the way that didn't BattleTech do it that way? It's like, don't take this mission unless you want the final showdown to begin.
Yeah, you could just go like putz around in the universe and do mercenary missions or whatever if you didn't want to finish the last campaign thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. And it was helpful to me because I Omega died on one of those missions. Got like really, really dead. And, like dead where it's like, okay, I have physically enough bodies to cover this next task, the final task. But these soldiers are not in the fighting shape I need them to be in to complete this last mission.
Nice.
Which it turned out it was right, because that last mission was crazy hard. So, yeah. Great game, though. I really enjoyed that. Chaos Gate Daemonhunters.
Well, since we're talking about corpses, Michael, tell us about the corpse of a video game. What does that look like?
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting situation, but I think it's one that's going to start to become more and more common as more games as services are offered. But so you guys know that I have been a very enthusiastic player of Final Fantasy Record Keeper over the last 7 and change years now that it has been out.
Yeah, I look over at your phone often and see Record Keeper still, and I think, man, if only he'd gotten into Fire Emblem Heroes with us.
He would have quit way earlier and been
Then we
free.
could have got him out of this.
Well, yeah. So the new content releases generally every Thursday, and this past Thursday, the new content that was expected released, along with a couple of additional announcements, one of which was in 3 months' time, we will be shutting off the servers for the global version of the game.
Not even like we'll let you do whatever's left to do in the game and leave it up and just stop making updates. We're just shutting it down.
Just no word. They basically just said the game is ending and that they would be ending their support. Chances are they won't maintain it as an offline version, but I mean, I guess there's always some small sliver of hope. But what's weird about it is that the Japanese version of the game is 6 months ahead of the global version. So there is at least 6 months of content still that would have been coming out, right? Even if they were to cancel the Japanese version. But, 3 months is all that's left.
That tells me the global audience was really, really small. And the Japanese audience maybe is quite a bit bigger.
Well, it could be wasn't Square selling off parts and downsizing and doing all sorts of stuff like that?
Yeah, but I don't think Square was really involved with the development. This was all DNA.
Oh, it was all DNA. Okay.
Yeah. But yes, to your point, JJ, the speculation is that that it was just a numbers thing, that the economics of the global market were not as the same as the Japanese market.
Not enough whales in that ocean, once it gets
Can't even
small
keep
enough.
the server online.
Yep.
That's not how that works though, right? They don't like the server paying the bills isn't enough for those kind of games. It has to be making crazy money. Otherwise they would rather spend their time making Candy Crush 75 Fruit Edition or whatever that makes 50 times the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Sadly, that's the way that it is, but that is how it is.
Yeah. It was just, and it's been interesting to see because there's a very solid Reddit community in support of the game, and it's been really interesting to watch what the Reddit threads have gone through in the last 4 or 5 days. Basically, it's like the 5 stages of grief.
I can't believe it.
been playing a game for how long, Michael?
7 years, man.
Yeah, it'll be 7.5 years when they shut it off.
That's a really long time for a mobile game.
Yeah, it is.
That game came out before my first kid was born.
So for Andrew, that's basically like the 1930s.
I'm just saying, it feels like forever. That was for the dads. It feels like forever. They knew what it meant. I can't believe it. Wow. So the disbelief, I guess, on the servers has become acceptance has become.
Well, it's become people
anger.
have kind of I mean there are some angry people, but it seems like people are resolving into one of 3 camps. They are either the what's the point? I'm uninstalling the game camp.
Yeah.
There's the I will play this through. I've been here since the beginning, so I'll play this through to the bitter end camp. And then there's the I had the third one in my head and it just slipped away. The switching to start over playing the Japanese version.
Oh, because you'll have longer.
Yeah, you have at least 6 months more, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight for the Japanese game. But then again, there didn't seem to be an end in sight for the English version.
Sure.
Also, like, I think not being able to read the menus and the stuff may hamper people a bit.
Well, so there's a way around that. There's an app that you can install that's an overlay for the Japanese, and it's basically touch to translate. And so anywhere that you touch where there's Japanese text, it'll detect it and translate it into your language of choice.
Whoa, that's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, one, if you played it for 7 years and your question is now, what's the point? I think you've got a bigger problem.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if someone starts over after 7 years, are they going to be like, this sucks now because you don't have all your stuff, you know?
So
I don't think so.
Yeah. The game has, the developers have done a really good job with the game of putting in ways for new players to catch up quickly. So I think in the current state of the game, if you were to start a new file, you could catch up to being able to tackle, if not beat, in-game content in like 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Which isn't bad for a game that's been out that long.
No. I think my point was, though, if you haven't had fun for 7 years and now you're questioning it because they're shutting it down, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
other than a game that comes on a disc, you're never guaranteed to keep anything. It's possible that, you know, like, even if you, I mean, I just updated that Vita, right? The memory card could go bad and maybe I could back it up and get another memory card, but eventually there are games on there that could just disappear even though they're not even online. You know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And mobile games are especially prone to this stuff. Anyone remember Flappy Bird?
Yeah.
Well,
They
that guy
pulled the
took it
plug.
down on purpose.
Yeah, but that was a game that was hugely influential in a bunch of different things, and it's basically impossible to play or access now, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of stories of this. We could go on forever. But I think, Michael, what really matters is, did you have fun, and will you install the Japanese version, or are you just going to move on to nothing else or something else? That's what is the post-mortem for you look like?
So I'll play through to the end, to when they lock the doors and shut the lights off.
I think that's the right call.
And then, I have enjoyed the game so much up to this point. It would be a shame to not enjoy the things that are still coming before they shut it down.
Yeah, help them close the doors, you know?
Yeah. So I'll do that. In terms of what's next, unsure. I signed up for
Marvel Snap.
the Octopath mobile game that's getting released sometime this summer.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're going to put out like a beta for it, or if they're just going to go straight into release. But I have a notification set for that. We shall see.
I gotta figure out if I can download Marvel Snap yet. Is it out on iPhone yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything, but I'm not, having the game and playing it means that I don't have to look to see if there are updates about it.
That's a good point, I guess.
Yeah. I know they soft launched in the Philippines. So maybe if you changed your store to the Philippines, you could get it.
Maybe.
But I don't know if they're out for other people.
Choose Philippines as your country, I think, is the only way. Yeah.
It seemed, game. I enjoyed that game. I play like maybe 1 game or 2 games a day, just, dinking around.
It feels like there's not much content, maybe.
Yeah, I've hit the part of the treadmill of that game where now it's like, okay, if I want to like unlock a bunch more new cards, this is going to require a significant amount of time, and that's not like the amount of time that I'm willing to input. So I play a few games every day and have a good time with the decks and the stuff that I have, and I'm good.
Speaking of,
I feel like there are a lot of strategies available to me, and I haven't even explored all of those.
Sure.
If you're the kind of person that wants to make a bunch of decks or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I'm good.
Speaking of treadmills and forever content, because you never will have enough time, are we dumb enough to try Diablo Immortal?
I mean,
There's a weird divide growing of people that are like, yeah, but if you just play it, and you don't spend the money, it's actually not bad. And then there's people that are like, the monetization alone makes it worth not playing.
I think those people who say that if you just play it, it's fine, haven't played it far enough to find the point where they want you to spend the money. That's how those mobile games work. It's how I felt with Marvel Snap for like a long time. I was playing it like a lot. And then it was like, oh, I see here. Now all of a sudden it's way harder to get these things that are leveling me up. And now this is like the loot, the grind has come in. And by all accounts, Diablo Immortal has a much, much worse one of those. But I mean, you know, maybe if you're okay playing that beginning part until you see that and then go F this and then install it, like maybe that's cool. I don't know. Like it is free. It costs you nothing.
Well,
so there is
my
that.
time is valuable at this point. It really, if I had spent time playing a game that I like, wow, at the end of it versus wow, you know, I don't know if you can hear the difference in my voice over the internet. Like TMNT and Eiyuden took up the little remaining time I had last week between vacation and being sick. If I had stuck a game in there that people had warned me, you probably won't like this, and then I didn't, I'd feel like I wasted my time.
Sure.
So, you know, I mean, it seems like you have no shortage of things that you know aren't going to waste your time. So, like, why dabble here, you know?
JJ, you're a very wise person sometimes.
I mean, is this the wisdom in my age, or is this common sense? Like, I don't.
No, I don't think it's common
that
sense
bad.
at all to say. I don't think it's. There's a cultural need for a lot of people to participate in zeitgeists, right? Especially with mobile games being free and all this sort of stuff, and saying, you know, there's this 3-year-old game out there. Not, and Eiyuden's obviously brand new, and TMNT's also brand new. But you've brought this point up before, and we brought this point up before. There's a 3-year-old game out there that's on sale. It got 100 great reviews, and we played it and liked it. Maybe spend your time on that. Is not maybe in my experience is not always a thing that you feel like you can participate in, right? You can feel like you're keeping up sometimes. I don't know.
I don't think I think if you want to try to keep up with the Joneses on Diablo Immortal, that's the wrong tree to try to keep up with, you know?
Don't bark on that one.
That I don't know where this tortured metaphor is going.
It's a lot of
like,
metaphors. Yeah.
Anyway, somewhere it's going to end up with someone having a house that's worth $8 billion and yours is going to be a shack in the corner of a slum, and it's not going to go great.
All right. Well, tortured trees aside, I found a good use for a tree this past weekend during vacation. You want to talk about a board game real quick before we got to go?
I like board games.
Man, I miss board games.
You want to talk about Formula One real quick before we got to go?
I do like Formula One.
You want to talk about a Formula One board game, but real quick before we got to go?
Is this Car Wars?
No. It turned funny you should mention it. It turned into that.
Hey, that should be against the rules.
Yeah. So there's 2 versions of the game, and in one version it is, and one version it isn't. I played a game this past weekend called Formula D. I think D stands for dice.
Interesting.
There are 2 rule books. One is the beginner rule book, and the other is a advanced rule book. And no, it's not Formula Drift Formula D. I just remembered in the back of my mind that there is US racing called Formula D. That's not what I'm talking about.
It sounded, when you said Formula D, I immediately thought of Initial D.
Yes, I know you did. The box art looks exactly like Initial D.
Okay, they know.
They know what they're doing, but I think they mean that it stands for dice. But I don't. The D is exactly the same font from Initial D. It's bigger and multicolored, you know? So you get a grid of Monaco. and using dice depending on which gear you're in. So like D4 for first gear, D30 for sixth gear. You move your car that amount of spaces based on what you roll. And then you have to like negotiate corners. Negotiating corners involves not slamming into walls and not and like stopping your turn certain amounts of times to kind of like simulate slowing down, you know.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. And then there's like a simple version of wear and tear on your car, which is if you lock up your brakes by slowing down too much, or if you have to brake really hard, or you shift down too hard, or whatever. It just sort of takes away from a generalized pool of wear on your car. And the thing that ended up happening was if you pull up too close to another car, you both have to roll to see if you take wear damage on your car. Well, when people are starting to get away from people on races, or they're getting real low on those damage points, maybe you just pull up next to them and see what happens. Like, I see you got only 3 damage points left and half the race to go. It'd be a shame if someone pulled up next to you for the rest of the race and see if you crash out.
Formula One does kind of feel like that sometimes, actually.
Yeah, it certainly does. It was amazing that by the end of it, we only played the simple version and we only did 1 lap. And by the end of it, there was a moment where it was like, okay, this guy won the game on this exact roll because he stayed in this gear and that other player was in that gear. And then all the other cars eventually like start pushing it harder to try and catch up, and everybody's starting to manage their wear points, and all the people behind him are now catching up because they're just damaging their cars to try and catch up as fast as they can. So he has to start damaging his car, which means he goes through the last corner too quickly. You know, like the daisy chain of events did somewhat feel a little bit formula-ish.
Now you're racing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was weird how when we started out, it was like, well, this is just silly bumper cars, and by the end, it was like, Lance Stroll crashed into me in the corner.
Why, Latifi? Why?
So board games are still fun, is my report.
That's very cool. I kind of want to try this game.
Yeah, look it up on Board Game Geek. You can. That's a free shout out for a great organization, boardgamegeek.com. If you've ever wondered about board games and you don't know where to go, what a good one. There's 2 versions of the game, just so you know, and one of them is newer. I think there's a 2000 something and a 1990 something. You want the 2000 something,
the new one. Got it. Okay, cool.
You can run a lot of cars on the grid. It would be madness if you ran all the cars on the grid. But
this looks cool. I'm gonna look into this.
The advanced version looks crazy. Also, I don't know if you're looking at it. You get drivers with like certain points that do certain things differently than other drivers.
This is Car Wars. You just don't have weapons yet. You just got to add weapons.
Yeah, there you go. There's also like you go from having generalized wear points to like managing your tires and your engine and your gearbox and your you know.
Oh yeah. They do it for real.
And the newer version, since it is probably related to Initial D, has street racing.
This is cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's my board game report. The first one in like 2 years, because who has time for board games?
Well, who's been around a crowd of other people?
Yeah, enough other people to play a real board game. You know, this had, it was a family trip and we all tested and did all this stuff to stay together and isolated and all that sort of thing. And even then it was only like 6 of us, when you could have up to, what is it? I think it's over 10 people playing this game at once.
Good Lord.
That's a big game.
Well, I think you can have 5 teams and 2 drivers per team. So you could have 10 cars.
Still a lot of people in a board game.
For a simple board game, it's pretty good. All right. If people knew that it was related to Initial D already, where should they go?
Folks can send that to podcast@weweregamers.com. That's our email. They can find us on YouTube at We Were Gamers, all one word. Search that out. Hit that subscribe, hit that little bell. It'll notify you when the new stuff comes out. Definitely check that out. And we're on social media at We Were Gamers, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.